10 one-hit wonders everyone remembers from the 1970s. And here's the thing, you know all of these songs. I mean, you really know them. You can hum them right now without thinking. Some of them are so deep in your memory, they don't even feel like songs anymore. They feel like wallpaper. They feel like weather. But the bands who made them, gone. And the stories behind how these songs happened, most people have never heard a word of them. Number 10, Brownsville Station. Smokin in the Boys' Room. Number 3, U.S. Billboard Hot 100, January 1974. The producer who recorded this song refused to release it as a single. Said it was a throwaway. Said nobody would care. Brownsville Station was a trio from Ann Arbor, Michigan. Cub Coda on guitar and vocals, Mike Lutz on bass, Henry Weck on drums. By 1973, they'd been grinding clubs and college bars for 4 years. No national hit. Third album, was mostly cover songs. And the last track on side 2, something Coda had written in about 30 minutes, based on nothing more than the idea of sneaking a cigarette behind the teacher's back. Nobody thought much of it, including the band. In Coda's own words, they recorded it in about an hour. Their producer was Doug Morris. He hated it, refused to put it out as a single. And here's where it gets strange, and because this is the same Doug Morris who would later become president of Atlantic Records, then head of Universal Music, then CEO of Sony Music, one of the most powerful people in the history of the record industry. That guy looked at Smokin in the Boys' Room and said no. Then a radio station in Portland, Maine, started spinning it off the LP. Phones lit up immediately. Within weeks, there were over 100,000 orders for a single that didn't officially exist yet. Morris released it. It went to number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 in January 1974. Gold record. And if you're nodding right now, I know why. Because in 1985, Mötley Crüe covered this song, rewrote the bandmate names in the lyrics to match their own, and that cover became their first ever top 40 hit. Their first. A song Cub Coda wrote in 30 minutes became the foundation of a glam metal band's entire breakthrough. Brownsville Station broke up in 1979, never had another top 10 hit, but a song that almost never got released launched a career that had nothing to do with them. Number 9, Mungo Jerry. In the summertime, number 3 US, number 1 UK, 7 weeks, 1970. You've heard this song thousands of times. Probably couldn't name the band without reading this title right now. Mungo Jerry, named after a character in a T.S. Eliot poem, the same book of poems that later became the Broadway musical Cats. You got women on your mind. British band, formed in 1970, always fronted by a man named Ray Dorset. Their first single was released in May of 1970. One of the very first maxi singles ever pressed 3 tracks on a 7-inch record, playing at 33 revolutions per minute instead of 45. A new format, nobody had really done it before. If a daddy's rich, take her out for a meal. If a daddy's poor. And here's what gets me about this one. The week Mungo Jerry made their national debut at the Hollywood Music Festival in Staffordshire on a stage that also featured the Grateful Dead, Black Sabbath, and Traffic Ray Dorset was still a factory worker. Still clocking in at a Timex watch factory, he had to ask his shift supervisor for the afternoon off to appear on Top of the Pops. Think about that. Your record is about to hit number 1 in the UK for 7 straight weeks. You have 35,000 people singing along to your song at a festival. And you're standing there calculating whether the request to your boss sounds reasonable.
Go driving, or maybe we'll settle down.
The label shipped out 78,000 copies of the single on a Monday morning. Every copy was sold and paid for by lunchtime. In the summertime, went to number 3 in the United States. Sold somewhere between 8 and 16 million copies worldwide. And in America, that was it. One shot.
Bring your friends and we'll all go into town.
Mungo Jerry had multiple UK chart hits through 1974, but American radio never came back for them. The summer that song described car windows down, the carefree feeling that nothing could touch you. It showed up once, then it was gone. If you were around in 1970, you know exactly what that summer felt like.
When the sun goes down, you can make it.
Let's look at the numbers. Only 9% of you are actually subscribed. Honestly, that's tough to see. Our team spends days hunting down archives and verifying every single fact just to tell these stories right. If you've made it this far into the video, you're clearly part of the community, so please hit subscribe. It costs nothing and helps us immensely. Now, for those already subscribed, very few of you have made the jump to our membership, and that's a hard pill to swallow because you're the ones who know our value best. If this channel has moved you or inspired you, consider joining. It's the price of one coffee, but it's the literal fuel for this channel. Let's keep this alive together. Back to the story.
Number 8, Looking Glass. Brandy, You're a Fine Girl. Number 1 U.S. Billboard Hot 100, August 26, 1972. This one almost didn't happen. And the reason it did happen is one of the strangest stories in 1970s radio. Looking Glass was a 4-piece pop rock band from New Jersey, formed at Rutgers University by guitarist and songwriter Elliot Lurie. In early 1972, their debut album came out on Epic Records.
But it made it clear it couldn't stay.
The label chose their first single, a track called Don't It Make You Feel Good. It did nothing, didn't chart, disappeared, and that probably should have been the end of the story. But then a record label promotion man convinced a program director at WPGC in Washington, D.C., one of the biggest top 40 stations in the country, to give another track off the album a spin, a song called Brandy. The station played it. The switchboard lit up so fast that Harv Moore, the program director, said he'd never seen a response like that in 15 years of radio. He put it in heavy rotation, 2 plays an hour for 2 days straight. The label rush released it as a single.
When the bars close down.
And here's the part that still stuns me. Brandy, You're a Fine Girl was the number 1 record in Washington, D.C. before a single physical copy had been sold anywhere. Number 1. No stores, no sales, pure radio, pure reaction. It went to number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 on August 26, 1972. 1 week at the top. Gold record. 1 million copies. What you might not know is that Lurie wrote the song about a real girl, a high school girlfriend named Randy. He changed the name because Randy felt like an unusual name for a barmaid. And the name Brandy, after that summer, it became one of the most popular baby names in America. The Social Security Administration tracked it. Brandy went from the 353rd most popular name in 1971 to the 82nd most popular in 1973. Because of a song about a woman whose sailor never came home, Looking Glass never had another top 10 hit. Lurie left in 1974, but Brandy later became a central plot point in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. And Lurie, he became head of the music department at 20th Century Fox. The guy who wrote one hit did just fine. Number 7, Paper Lace.
I heard her pray the night
The Night Chicago Died, number 1 U.S. Billboard Hot 100, August 17, 1974. A British band from Nottingham wrote a song about Chicago. Neither of the songwriters had ever been to Chicago, and their research was, and this is the word they later used, careless. Paper Lace had been playing clubs in the UK since 1967. They got their break in 1973 by winning a spot on Opportunity Knocks, a massive British TV talent competition. Songwriters Mitch Murray and Peter Colander offered them a song, Billy Don't Be a Hero, and it went to number 1 in the UK. The plan was to release it in America too, but an Ohio band called Bo Donaldson and the Haywoods got there first, released their own version, and took it to number 1 in the US before Paper Lace could. That record contract fight meant Paper Lace never got their American shot on Billy.
Gotta make that town his own, and he called his gang to war.
So Murray and Colander wrote them a follow-up, The Night Chicago Died, a gangster story set during Prohibition involving a shootout between Al Capone's men and the Chicago police. It's a dramatic, rattling track with a police siren in the intro and a ticking clock in the verse. And it is, let me be honest, completely historically inaccurate. There was no east side of Chicago in the way the song describes. Capone was never in a battle involving anything close to 100 policemen. The whole thing was, Murray later admitted, loosely based on half-remembered details from old gangster movies. Chicago Mayor Richard Daley was furious when he heard it. He wrote the band a letter. The actual mayor of Chicago had taken time out of his schedule to write an angry letter to a pop group from Nottingham. Murray later recalled the mayor's response was roughly, "Are you nuts?" The song went to number 1 in America on August 17, 1974, just over a week after Richard Nixon resigned the presidency. Paper Lace couldn't even perform it live in the U.S. at the height of its success because of contractual issues with the label. A band that almost had 2 American number ones couldn't play the one they got. Contractual disputes split the band shortly after. And what remains is a song built on invented history that accidentally captured something real, because sometimes a story hits harder than facts ever could. Number 6, Stories. Brother Louie, number 1, U.S. Billboard, Hot 100, August 25th, 1973, 2 weeks. The singer heard this song in a meeting room and thought he was listening to a demo. He was wrong. What he heard was the finished recording, a UK top 10 hit by a British band called Hot Chocolate. Ian Lloyd of the New York group Stories was sitting in his A&R team's office when it came through the speakers, and he was so convinced it was a rough draft that he told his label he wanted to record it properly. Just like that. Stores had formed in the early 70s. Michael Brown, the keyboardist, former member of the Left Bank, the band behind Walk Away Renee, had teamed up with singer Ian Lloyd with the goal of making Beatles rock. Their first 2 albums were solid but didn't break through. RJ Brother Louie was a cover of Hot Chocolate's song about an interracial love affair between a white man and a black woman, and the rejection both faced from their respective families.
Knowing what's wrong from what's right.
Hot Chocolate's version never made it in America. The spoken sections, the raw, slur-laced dialogue from the parents, scared radio stations away. Stories recorded a cleaner version, leaned into the strings, and released it. It went to number 1 on August 25th, 1973, and stayed there for 2 weeks. Here's the part that gets complicated. By the time Brother Louie was climbing the charts, Michael Brown had already left the band. The guy who'd built Stories from the ground up wasn't even in the room. Stories broke up in 1974. Lloyd went on to sing backup for Foreigner, Billy Joel, Peter Frampton. Brown died in 2015. Art and Hot Chocolate, in the band that actually wrote the song, didn't crack the American top 10 until 1975 with a completely different song. Some people spend their career chasing what someone else already had. Number 5, Pilot Magic.
It's magic, you know.
Number 5, U.S. Billboard, Hot 100, July 1975. 4 guys from Edinburgh, Scotland. Produced by a man who helped create one of the most famous albums in rock history, and in America, remembered for exactly one song. Pilot formed in 1973 when bassist and vocalist David Payton and keyboardist Billy Lyle, both former members of the early Bay City Rollers lineup, recruited guitarist Ian Berenson and drummer Stuart Tosh. Their debut album was recorded with producer Alan Parsons. You know that name. Parsons had been the assistant engineer on the Beatles' Abbey Road and the lead engineer on Pink Floyd's The Dark Side of the Moon. That's the caliber of production talent sitting behind the mixing board for a Scottish pop rock band's first record. Magic was the second single off that debut. It hit number 11 in the UK in late 1974. When it was released in America in the spring of 1975, it climbed to number 5 on the Billboard Hot 100. Pilot were suddenly one of the most promising new bands of the year. Then the follow-up single, January, went to number 1 in the UK, Australia, and Ireland. In the United States, it peaked at number 87. Radio moved on. The label attention shifted, and that was essentially it for Pilot in America. Made by the 1-5 on the Hot 100, and then the door closed. David Payton went on to join the Alan Parsons Project and did session work for Elton John. Ian Berenson followed, but Billy Lyle, the co-writer of Magic, the keyboardist at the center of Pilot's sound, died on January 2nd, 1989. He was 36 years old, AIDS-related complications. The song he wrote is still in commercials, still in movies, still playing somewhere right now, that bouncing, bright melody that sounds like it was built in a place where nothing bad ever happened. Number 4, Starland Vocal Band. Afternoon Delight, number 1, U.S. Billboard, Hot 100, 1976. They won the Grammy for Best New Artist in 1977, and within 2 years, they had effectively ceased to exist as a commercial force. That's not a fall from grace, that's a trap door. The Starland Vocal Band was a Washington, D.C. vocal group led by Bill Danoff and Taffy Nivert. You should know that name, means Danoff, because before Afternoon Delight, he had co-written John Denver's Take Me Home Country Roads. He had real credentials. And Afternoon Delight, a song whose title sounds like something on a dessert menu, but whose actual subject matter is considerably more specific, shot to number 1 in 1976 and stayed there. They beat Boston at the Grammys, Best New Artist. That's not a minor award. And that's the recording industry standing up and saying, this is where things are going. And then CBS gave them their own summer variety television show, 7 episodes in 1977. It tanked completely. The show bombed so badly that it became a cautionary note about what happens when a label or a network tries to convert a recording act into an entertainment franchise overnight without asking whether the people involved actually wanted that life. They never had another top 10 hit in the U.S. And here's what's strange. Danoff was a legitimate songwriter. The Country Roads credit alone is real, durable legacy work. The band made solid music, but the machine around Afternoon Delight moved too fast, stretched too thin, and snapped. Everything after came out a little broken. And some of y'all heard this song for the first time in a very specific place, whether that was 1976 or decades later. That chorus lands the same way every single time. Number 3, Rupert Holmes.
There was this letter I read.
Escape, the Pina Colada song, number 1 U.S. Billboard Hot 100, December 22nd, 1979. This is the last number 1 song of the entire 1970s. The final song to reach the top of the American charts before the decade closed. And the man who made it had never once tasted a pina colada. Rupert Holmes, born David Goldstein in Cheshire, England, had spent most of the 70s as a behind-the-scenes figure. Session work, song placements. Barbra Streisand recorded his material. He'd released 4 solo albums that barely moved. His previous label went bankrupt while one of his singles was still on the chart. By 1979, working with a new label on Partners in Crime, he thought the lead single should be a track called Him. The label disagreed. They wanted Escape. Holmes had written it the night before recording, sitting in a New York apartment, flipping through the personals in the Village Voice. The story: a man bored with his relationship answers an ad to secretly meet another woman, then discovers at the meeting point that the woman who placed the ad is his own partner. An O. Henry twist written at midnight based on a want ad in a free newspaper.
Write to me and escape.
The chorus originally started with, "If you like Humphrey Bogart." He changed it at the last minute to pina coladas. He'd never had one. He still hasn't. The vocal you hear on the record is a scratch take. The first time he ever sang it through, he went back the next day to record it properly and couldn't replicate the energy. That scratch take became the record.
The curve of her face. It was my own
Escape
lovely
returned to number 1 in January 1980 after being bumped for 1 week. The only pop single in history to reach number 1 in 2 separate decades. Holmes went on to win Tony Awards on Broadway. He wrote novels. He composed for major stars. None of it could pull focus from that song. A friend once described it as the success that ruined his career. Holmes seemed to agree.
I know that sounds kind of mean.
Number 2, Sugarloaf.
Towards the sun.
Green-Eyed Lady. Number 3, U.S. Billboard Hot 100, Fall 1970. Here's the thing about Sugarloaf. Technically, they're not a pure one-hit wonder. They had a second top 10 hit in 1975, Don't Call Us, We'll Call You, which reached number 9. Ask 10 random people on the street to name that song. See what happens.
Green-eyed lady, lovely lady.
In practice, in the way that music gets remembered and carried forward, Sugarloaf is one song. And you know the one. They started in Denver as a band called Chocolate Hair. Liberty Records signed them and immediately told them the name had to go. Too much potential for misinterpretation, they said. Too much baggage. The band looked at a small mountain west of Boulder, Colorado, and became Sugarloaf. Frontman and keyboardist Jerry Corbetta wrote Green-Eyed Lady, about his girlfriend, Kathy Peacock, whom his bandmates had taken to calling by that exact description. The other guys in the band had a nickname for her. He put it on a record. The original song runs nearly 6 minutes. That was the album version. A sprawling Hammond organ-driven piece that builds and breathes and earns every second of its length. For radio, they cut it down multiple times, actually. 2 different radio edits, trying to find the right window without losing the riff. They didn't fully lose it. That organ line is still, 55 years later, one of the most immediately recognizable sounds in classic rock radio. Green-Eyed Lady hit number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 in the fall of 1970. It went to number 1 in Canada. It's been in hundreds of compilations, films, and commercials. Corbetta died in 2016. And if you've ever driven somewhere with this song on, windows down, something golden and warm in the air, you know exactly why nobody bothered to learn the second one. Number 1, Norman Greenbaum. Spirit in the Sky. Number 3, U.S. Number 1, UK/Australia/Canada, peaked April 18th, 1970. A Jewish man raised in an Orthodox household in Malden, Massachusetts, wrote the most famous Christian rock song of all time. He wrote the lyrics in 15 minutes. Then he moved to a goat farm, and the song never stopped playing. Norman Greenbaum grew up going to Hebrew school. He studied music at Boston University, dropped out, moved to Los Angeles in 1965. Spent the late 60s leading a psychedelic jug band that had one minor novelty hit and fell apart. He went solo, and one night he was watching television. Porter Wagoner doing a gospel number on his variety show, and Greenbaum thought, "I've never written a religious song. I could do that." He sat down. The words came in 15 minutes. He used the name Jesus because he thought it would make the song more marketable. He was writing from craft, not conviction. Here's the part most people don't know. The backup singers on the record were the Stovall Sisters, a gospel trio from Indiana. Their percussionist at the time of the recording session was a young man named Philip Bailey, the same Philip Bailey who would later co-lead Earth, Wind and Fire. That huge, raw, fuzz-soaked song about going up to the spirit in the sky, Philip Bailey is on it. Reprise Records was reluctant to release it. 2 previous singles from the album had done nothing. They finally agreed. Spirit in the Sky became the best-selling single in Reprise's history at that point, 2 million copies. Number 3 in the US, number 1 in the UK, Australia, and Canada. John Lennon said publicly that he liked it. Greenbaum couldn't replicate the studio sound live. Bookings dried up. He recorded 2 more albums. Neither charted. He moved to Petaluma, California, ran a dairy farm, made goat cheese, and lived on royalties. Funeral directors report it's the second most requested song at American memorial services after Danny Boy. It has appeared in more than 30 major films. 3 separate acts have taken it to number 1 in the UK across 3 different decades. He wrote the lyrics in 15 minutes. He built a life from what happened next.